That FDA advisory panel voting in total to recommend emergency use authorization for Pfizer's vaccine, taking us one step closer to full approval. Meg Terrell's got the latest developments. And Meg, like Joe said, there's a lot to analyze here.
Well, there sure is, Becky. I mean, this was a 9-hour-long meeting with finally that vote at the end of the day. Ultimately, it did come down to 17 yes votes, 4 no votes, 1 abstention. Overall, overwhelmingly positive, of course, in favor of this vaccine. We were reaching out to the 4 panelists who voted no. Normally, these meetings give them time to explain their votes, and that is actually some of the most interesting and important moments of these meetings. But this one had run so long, they ended it extremely abruptly after they voted. And some of these panelists actually expressed frustration to us when we reached out to them by email because they didn't get a chance to explain their votes. And this is a historic moment for this first COVID-19 vaccine. I mean, this really is the last step before the FDA needs to make its own decision. And so what we heard from those panelists was really, at least for 2 of them, it was about the question that was asked for them to vote on. Essentially, do the benefits of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine outweigh its risk for use in individuals age 16 years and older? And it was really that age question, guys. Dr. David Kim from the Department of Health and Human Services, who was one of those no votes, told us, quote, "I would have voted yes most enthusiastically had the language been 18 years of age and older." One of the questions really was, Pfizer had extended the age down in the trial after it started the trial. And so there was debate about whether there were enough data in 16 and 17-year-olds to include them in a potential emergency use authorization. And on that age question, guys, we actually did get more news from Pfizer that they plan to start a trial in kids ages 5 to 11 in April of next year. They've already included kids down to age 12 in the current trials. So they're waiting for those data to start that next group. And then for kids under 5, it would be after the age 5 to 11 trials. So guys, age was a big discussion yesterday, but there were other issues as well. Of course, those allergic reactions that we heard about from 2 healthcare workers in the UK who got some of the first shots this week. So the discussion around how to manage those, how to at least monitor for those. The FDA has asked Pfizer to look out for that potential risk. And then also how to keep running good studies and collecting good data. There was a big debate over the people who volunteered for this trial but got the placebo. When should they get the vaccine? The sooner you give them the vaccine, the less time you have to collect that gold standard data. But of course, you guys, a big debate about that. So the FDA is set to decide really at any point. The New York Times is reporting that it could be tomorrow. And after that, distribution begins within 24 hours. Guys?
So Meg, let me just clarify that. There, of the 4 people who voted no, 17 voted yes, 4 voted no, 1 abstained. Of the 4 people who voted no, you heard back from 2 of them, and both of them said they would have voted yes if it had been for 18 and up?
Yes. And we didn't hear back from the other 2. Well, one of them wasn't allowed to talk with us. He was a member of the government, and they deferred questions to the FDA. But the 2 who did get back to us were very clear that it was specifically the age issue. And if the question had been 18 and older, they would have voted yes.
And the abstention?
That's right.
We did not hear back from the person who abstained.
They abstained from calling you back, apparently. I'm trying to understand the rationale. It's just a lack of data. They just didn't think we knew enough about 16 and 17-year-olds. But here's what I was thinking it could mean, and I don't think it does. But the risk is fairly low for 16 and 17-year-olds. I don't think the side effect risk is very high with this vaccine, but it's, the Hippocratic Oath, do no harm. I mean, if the 16 and 17-year-olds would, if it's more of a risk to take, but it's not. It's obviously so it could only be about the data, I guess, that they just didn't feel like it had been, that they had numbers to make a decision on. It's not that these people, wouldn't benefit that much from the vaccine, because I think they could be carriers and give it to older people. So there's a reason you don't want them to get it either, right? Not just their own health.
Right. So there are a couple different issues there. I mean, I talked with Pfizer, one of the researchers at Pfizer who developed this vaccine last night, and asked, why did you guys include 16 and 17-year-olds in this application? Because that actually is the indication in the UK as well. He pointed out 16 and 17-year-olds biologically are not different from 18-year-olds. No. And so they thought they had enough data to include them in this application. But you're right, Joe. I mean, it almost seemed like kind of a funny debate to be having and to potentially hold up this vote and to make certain people have to vote no, even though they supported this vaccine, because at least from the priorities that have been set from the CDC committee, 16 and 17-year-olds are likely not to get this vaccine for quite some time. There was one panelist who actually will join us next hour to help us understand her vote better, who did say it was also an issue of consent. 16 and 17-year-olds would be having that decision made for them by somebody else. But really, I think there was concern about not enough data in those kids.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.